This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
My name is Raja Amir. This is the Recusant 9 Transmission. We're back for, well, I suppose it's another series in the scheme of things. Buckle up. It's gonna be a ride.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Good evening. It is the 4th of July, Independence Day, and I'm pleased to to be here with you. So I'm just messing about with my... I've been away. So I have been away. I've been off for a month, maybe a bit longer. And it's been great. I've had Sunday nights to myself, eating my takeaways and just potting around and regularly messaged by people to say, hi, how are you? When are you coming back? And I genuinely mean it. It's been exhausting. We've had 2 years. We've had 2 years to get to a point where, hello to my friends in the Labour Party. How are you all doing? How desperate have you got? How much lower will you go? You don't care, do you? None of you care at all. You just want the power and the wealth and the money and everything else that comes with that. You not only disgust me, you disgust an increasing number of decent, hard-working, working-class people from across our great country. How many of us are you going to call racist? How many of us are you going to call far-right activists? Yeah, muppets. Absolute muppets. Let's carry on. Let's carry on as we mean to go on. So, yes, I have been off for just over a month. We got to a point of where not only did the good people of Failsworth not just take out the barefaced liar, Sean Fielding, former leader of Oldham Council, we have now got to a position where we all knew we would end up, where Arooj Shah is the new leader of Oldham Council. And let's be very clear here. Arooj Shah, with the announcement of the first Muslim leader of the council, her first act as the first Muslim leader of the council, to make sure that we all knew she had arrived. Her anointment was marked with her standing on the tables in the council chamber. Do not think for 1 minute, do not think for 1 second that that was an accidental act, or it was an act that hadn't been thought through. It had been thought through with precision. And I can only share with you what I believe was the message behind her standing on the table. No, it's not a Muslim thing. Let's be clear. I grew up in a Muslim household like all of my Muslim friends who grew up in a Muslim household. If we stood on a table, the next thing we'd know, we would be off the table with a palm print on our face somewhere on either side, or the back of a hand mark on our face. No, we weren't taught to stand on people's tables. No, the standing on the table was an expression of power. It was a demonstration of, we are here. Arooj Shah, leader of Oldham Council, with her entourage of gangsters, heroin dealers, kidnappers, torturers, and she can't sue me for any of this because all of it is true. It was an announcement of who really controls this town. We are here, and this is what we do when we are here. We stand on a table and we demonstrate how powerful we are and how untouchable we are, because that is what these people do. Launched in. My apologies. I should say all of these good evenings to all of you people. Teresa, Paul, great to have you. Denise, lovely to have you back, Denise. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Sue, Chris Marsh, red pill. I don't take any pills, Chris. If they'd found one little shred of anything that I was involved in, do you not think it'd be all over the news? The way these people... No, I don't take any pills, but I understand what you meant by the sentiment of the red pill. Indeed. And yeah, I've missed you all, Anne. I've missed all of you. I found the Sunday evening transmissions to be... they became part of my ritual. They became part of my routine. And as exhausted as I was, I missed them. But I'm hoping I'm back and I'm a lot more rejuvenated, because it did get tiring. Let's be honest, it got tiring. We're in a fight. We're in a war. This isn't a battle. This is a war. We're in a war for the future of our town. We're fighting gangsters. We're fighting corrupt politicians, and we're fighting council officers that actually should be in prison, and police officers that are as bent as anything. Which gets me to the police officer thing before I carry on with some more hellos. Oh, you like my t-shirt, Mark? Yes. So this is one of the things I did whilst I was off. I finally tweaked my logo. You can see the logo at the top there somewhere. Where is that logo? Let me put it so it's there. So it's there. I've tweaked my logo, and I got some t-shirts made. Oh, actually, I didn't get any t-shirts made. I pressed a couple of buttons on and an internet company ships them directly to you. I know they might come across a little bit expensive, but it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. It's not, I don't get the money. I think I get 20 or 30% eventually makes its way to me, but I like the branding. And I got a sample. So because I set it up, they gave me a sample at cost, and they gave me a sample of, this is what I'm most pleased with. They gave me a sample of a mug. And you know what? You know what I love about them more than the fact that I'm using? It winds them up. It absolutely winds them up. They hate it. They absolutely hate it that the people in my town and others who in other towns and cities that face the similar challenges that we have, and they know if we can topple them here, they will all topple. All across the north, they will topple. If we can topple them here, they will topple everywhere. And they hate that I am sustained through your support. And that's as simple as it is. They hate it. So I got myself a mug. I hope some of you might order a mug or a t-shirt. And it's filled with Vimto. So I'm good to go. Paul, good to... I saw Paul strumming his guitar. It popped up on my Facebook last night, I think. So hi all. Hi Sheila, Dennis, Tracy, Gary, Steve. Oh, great. Debbie, good to see you. And they can, let me just move this bit out of the way. They can do what they want, Debbie. No, they delete bar, they do what they want. Do you think I care? Do you not think I won't find another way and another way and another way of communicating what I know and my views and opinions and my interpretation of what's going on in my hometown to my people? That they want to stop me from doing this? That McMahon and Angela Rayner were in the Sunday Times wanting the law to be changed to stop me? This is after all of the things they'd failed to do. Nah. That's exactly what it was, Paul. That's exactly what Arood Shah's standing on the table was. It was a power play. I'm above you all. I can do what I want. I can hang off the arm of who I want. And we'll get into that later, because I have so much to share with you. Oh yes, Debbie's ordered. Debbie's got a sweatshirt. You see, sorry, Debbie, you've got yourself something I couldn't afford. You got yourself the hoodie. So no, that was out of my. Yes, we'll get to that, Mark. We will get to that indeed. Don't you worry about it. So, this is a battlefield, and we know who our enemies are. We know who is stood before us. We have the heroin dealers and the gangsters alongside the corrupt politicians. We have council officers who do not care that they break the law. And we have journalists, former press officers come journalists, who are, as Mark Wilkinson found out today, have no interest in reporting the truth. And then we have corrupt police officers. And unfortunately, you all, whilst I was off, you all read the article of the police officer who wouldn't even trust reporting a crime to his own police force. And was it 150 police officers are trying to transfer themselves out of Greater Manchester Police because of how inept and how corrupt. No one, I don't believe anyone joins the police to become a corrupt police officer that protects criminals and politicians who are involved in covering up the grooming and gang rape of children. No, no one does that. No one does that. Good evening, Lee. How are you? That's my friend Lee. Last time I saw was at Dovestones. There was a memorial tree for Lee's daughter, and I had the. No, it was lovely. Lee. I went up on a Saturday afternoon, and Dovestones is lovely, isn't it? I mean, I'm very fortunate to live so close to it. So it. Excuse me. I had one of those lateral flow tests yesterday because I developed a cough, and like everyone, I suppose, you suddenly think the worst, but no, it wasn't COVID. It was just a cough. Okay. We have got Mark Hints on in a little while, but I just wanted to start with two things. And they are they're very important for us to start with. Housekeeping admin. Okay, sorry, Mob, I'll do that. Please like the post on YouTube. It helps with the algorithm, so you've got to like this. There's 16 of you liked it. There's about 80 of you watching it. So if a few more of you could please click the like, I would be very appreciative. If you subscribe to me on the new blogging sort of webpage, brilliant. Please don't bother giving me any more money. I'm happy with the £5 that you give me, and most of it makes its way to me. But if and I've only got about 50 people on there who subscribe that way. But if you just tune into me as and when you can, please, if you can, support me, support the channel, buymeacoffee.com/Recusant Nine. It's £2. You decide. You decide if me risking my life is worth £2. And I am risking my life. Let's be in no doubt whatsoever. These people, if they can't kill me, they want to put me in prison. They want to leave my name in the history book of this town as a far-right activist. I have family, I have nephews and nieces, I have a daughter. I know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for more than just my name. I'm fighting for their future and the future of all of our children. Because what they are doing is disgraceful. I'll get to that, Paul. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a style that I did with that Hannah Al-Ottman woman from the Sunday Times, who's run away and hasn't come back. Okay. First things first. Oh, that thing works. Nice. First things first. Let's get to this. Okay. I just need to move this out of the way. In fact, I can get rid of this from here. There you go. Okay. 2 days ago, just after the election in Batley and I forget the other bit attached to it. 2 days ago, Slough announced that it had gone basically bankrupt. This is a Labour Party controlled town. It's gone bankrupt. And it's gone bankrupt after having £50 million worth of debts. And then once independent auditors were brought in, they found that they had £40 million more and more and more because the debt had been hidden all over the place. So this Labour Party controlled town has gone bankrupt. Why this should be of relevance to us in Oldham is when the annual accounts were signed off, the council released 100 and something page document. I waded through it. And from it, I revealed that the council's auditors had raised on record that Oldham Council, our town, it's not the council, Oldham risked bankruptcy. They were that concerned, they raised it twice. And this is off the back of what we now know is the best part of £40 million of debt that we pay interest payments on every year. This is separate to the tens, if not hundreds of millions of reserves that they've already waded through and want to continue to wade through. This means that this council is on the verge of bankruptcy. Now, at the council meeting, when the budget for the following year was signed off, no, there was nothing from the Lib Dems. It was just smoke screen and nonsense. And the Tories, who should know better, who do know better, abstained. Now, you tell me if any of you are elected to abstain. You either vote for something or you vote against something. We don't elect politicians to sit on their hands and not vote. And that means this council is on the verge of bankruptcy. Remember, it bought Spindles and it just found out. And again, we'd leaked it. We got the evidence and we leaked it and we escalated it. And they've confirmed that they've had to buy the lease of the former Topman shop or Top Shop in Spindles, separate to the 9 million or 10 million or 11 million, depending on all the fees that they won't tell us, of a shopping centre they bought during a pandemic. Separate to all of that, they don't own the leases. And so when the leases come up one by one, they'll have to buy them one by one. And if I've got that wrong, all the council has to do is issue a confirmation and list every shop in Spindles and confirm that they already own the leases to every one of these shops. But the town is on the risk of bankruptcy. It's on the verge of bankruptcy, like Slough. And no one will say anything, no one will do anything, and every one of you should be worried, because as soon as the council goes bankrupt, it means they've gone through every one of our millions of pounds. They've gone through all of it. They've gone through the tens of millions of reserves, every penny that's been saved up ever, they've gone through, and they've borrowed beyond the means to pay it back. And this town is on the verge of bankruptcy, and not a single one of the politicians in the mainstream parties are calling for what every one of us knows needs to happen. Independent auditors need to be appointed to inspect the council's finances, because you cannot trust these council officers and these politicians to tell you the truth. Everything we've extracted from information that's been hidden inside documents. The town is on the verge of bankruptcy. Dr. Carolyn Wilkins on a £250,000 package is nowhere to be seen. Arud Shah, well, would you want her anywhere near the finances? Particularly. And sorry, it's irrelevant. I don't care that it's Arud Shah. I care it's the leader of the council. Particularly as the brother of the leader of the council is a convicted money launderer. No, not at all. Let's get Mark on, and let's get on with some really worrying developments in Shaw. I've got stuff that Mark doesn't know I've got, so I'm going to enjoy this. Let me put Mark up. Mark, how you doing?
Hi, Roger. It's great to see you, but it's never good news, is it?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking all right. You know, I'm thinking, my hair's, it's not falling out yet, and yeah.
No, it's just like you're the sort of person I want to talk to and really get on with, but we never have a really positive conversation in terms of the subject, do we? It's always it's always negative. There's always something negative going on, isn't there? I look forward
Mark,
to the day where it's different.
you know the irony of all of this is I've spent 25, 30 years of my life before this bringing happiness and joy to young people's lives mainly, and protecting them from dodgy extremists on one hand, or supporting children and young people where they end up in some amazing places. And I think life is about this is to balance out all those years of happy news I've been able to do. I think that is what's going on. Mark, come on, let's have it out. So you are the official opposition in Shaw because you pooled the most votes. You took on the leader of the Liberal Democrats, and you still got, was it 600-700 votes?
I think it was 574.
So but you came second, yeah?
I came second, and with a relatively small team, we are relatively new to it. So
yeah. So just hold on 1 second. I'm going somewhere with this, Mark. Don't worry. So after that, and you came up second. You live in Shaw. Your family lives in Shaw. You've got children in the place. Yeah, it's where you belong. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah.
And so you decided, how can I continue to serve Shaw? And Shaw, for those of you who don't know, like Saddleworth, has a parish council. And all of you in Shaw, like all of us in Saddleworth, pay an extra precept, I think it's called, towards the running of the parish council. And I think they end up with like £100,000 in Shaw or more even. Yeah, so there's and they are influential. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a parish council, would you?
No, one of the things, you see, the irony is, I'm a great believer in localism. I think the more powers we have, and the
I'm
more
putting
control,
you on a screen of your own, so you go for it. Go on.
Okay. I think the more powers we have, and the more control we'll have at a local level, the better it is, rather than the central structure we encounter now. So really, I'm quite happy to have a parish council, but the problem is, what is a parish council and what does it do? I think I released a video.
I'm going to play it next. I'm going to play it right now. So if you want me to play it, I'll play it right now. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, play it because it was totally new to me. So play away and let's see what I say.
Atkins, and I'm standing for councillor in May's local elections. Behind me are the offices of Shaw Parish Council. We all know it exists. We drive past the signs. But what does it do and what does it cost? As the parish council does not have a mission statement detailing its aims and objectives, or a policy defining its targets, or even an annual report, we are left oblivious to what benefit the parish council is to us, the residents. This despite the council receiving over £100,000 a year, mainly from the pockets of the people of Shaw. Last year, the parish council spent 10 grand on a CCTV system, not for the high street to prevent antisocial behaviour and crime, but for the small, hardly used offices behind me. In addition, the council spent over £25,000 on environmental improvements. This included a £12,000 annual maintenance contract for ground maintenance. The parish council seems good at spending our money, but there doesn't seem to be any tendering process or procurement procedure to ensure we get best value. Last year, the parish council spent £1,000 on a Christmas tree and £3,000 on floral baskets. Guess who they paid that money to? That's right, Oldham Council. Do you get the feeling we're paying for things twice? There is one cost that can be fully attributed though, and that's the £1,400 the chair gets for performing civil duties. I'm not against the principles of a parish council. Indeed, the more control we have locally, the better decisions and resources can be applied. But the reality is our parish council is neither accountable nor transparent and should be represented by a cross-section of the township, not just a small clique with one particular political viewpoint. That's why, if elected to represent Shaw in May's local elections, I'll be pressing for a full review into the parish council, which includes a cost-benefit analysis to ensure the residents get the best value for money. Join me, and together, let's make Shaw better.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're not new on this. I think it's fair to say, you've raised concerns of the parish council before. This isn't, you're not doing a Sean Fielding. You're not a bad loser. You know, you've had an interest in the community you live in and the role of the parish council, and you tried to get on it. Yeah, you had vacancies. And you decided you wanted to apply.
Foolishly, I thought things were run on a democratic line, so I assumed that there would be elections and this, that, and the other. But the reality is, and it's not just Shaw Parish Council that operate this way. Is, for instance, if they don't promote who they are, then who's going to know about them? Who's going to want to stand? So if they get a shortfall of people standing, or during a term some people leave or whatever, they get the chance to co-opt people. Yes, they have to put a sign up on a back street somewhere notifying, but it's not advertising. And then they get to appoint people of the same mindset. Now, although it's been classed, and we'll go through this, although it's been stated as a coincidence, no, coincidence is winning the lottery, picking 6 numbers, not picking 14 councillors who just all happen to be members of the Liberal Democrats.
Is that what it is? So the entire parish council is made up of members of the same party?
Yeah, I mean, some of them have only recently found out, but that's another point we'll get to. But yeah, they're all members of the Liberal Democrats. Now, for me, irrespective of what national politic ethos you have or philosophy, this is a great opportunity to the parish council. It's about representing all. Okay,
so I'll stop you there. So you wanted to yeah, I agree with you. You know, let's go through it. You've sent me some emails. I'm going to put them up because I found them hilarious, and then I went and did my own digging. And I remember that time when Paul Errock nearly had a heart attack before the elections when I told him something about some figures. I want to see the look on your face in a little while, but let me put this up. Can you see this?
Yes, so I found out that there were 2 vacancies because a couple of councillors hadn't been going to meetings, etc. So I wrote to the town clerk, Mr. Tony Hilton, and as you can see there, nice, polite email, and he come back to me straight away, in fairness.
And I'll get to that. You know, so all of this, I mean, this is why I use emails. Mark, because you can't avoid it, can you? Everything's in a chain. Now, this is his response. It's extensive, so you tell me when you want me to keep scrolling up. Okay.
So he's clarifying the position that the situation that there's 2 positions to co-opt. So there are 2 vacancies. He goes through the stages. So there we go. Stage 1, if an individual inquiry about a vacancy, direct with him, which I've done. Stage 2, I have to speak to a councillor. And then stage 3, I have to write in with an express of interest. But what stuck out straight away is this thing highlighted. However, I must inform you that the council will be considering recruiting to the current vacancies at its meeting on the Tuesday the 29th of June. Bearing in mind this is 6 days before this email. Therefore, it is likely your inquiry has come too late to be considered.
So they're trying to put you off straight away. We're
on email here, not telegraph. So he's sort of saying, he's sort of like saying, back off. We've got R2. Thanks, but no thanks. So and then we're going about the planning committee, but that's pretty much relevant to what we're talking.
Okay. So the relevance for me is the date.
Yeah.
The 23rd of June at 11:08. Yeah. He responded. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's an extensive email. He would have took a half an hour or so to write this email. Right. Yeah. And you sent out the email. This is relevant to me at 9:24 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 9:30 in the morning. You have emailed querying for this, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it now, or do you want to carry on?
We'll carry on, because we'll do that at the end, I think.
Right.
So, obviously, I thank him for his speedy response, but I'm questioning, look, the meeting's not till the 29th of June, so I think it's a reasonable time frame. I ask him to send me the criteria, etc., etc. You can continue. So he comes back to me.
So you're pushing. You're not taking no for an answer.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. Right, okay. So this is... now he's coming up with deadlines. All right, okay. So Thank you. Good morning, Mark. Thank you for your response. I will circulate your details as per stage 1. Well, that must take a week, mustn't it, Tony, by your own admission? However, a candidate's expression of interest form would need to be included in the meeting papers, which must be circulated no later than tomorrow's deadline.
So wait, I've just followed that email chain. There's no reference to tomorrow's deadline before this, is there? There's only a reference to a date.
Yeah. Yeah, just, okay. So we continue, if you could scroll down. No problem. I send him the form, not a problem there. And then he gets back to me and says, many thanks, are you happy to provide a telephone number for a counsellor to ring? And that's where it gets interesting. And I'll just stop you there. I got a phone call from Councillor Hazel Gloucester, which started off very cordially, to be fair. And she said, the thing was, what do you want to know about the parish council? So I said, Hazel, okay, I live in Shaw, I've got a parish council. I live in Royton, I haven't got a parish council. What's the benefit? Okay.
And you pay for it.
Yeah, well, that aside, what's the benefit? The first thing she says is, we have a fun day. We have a fun day, okay? A fun day that costs us 15 grand, I might add. So I said, look, Hazel.
Hold on. Oh, sorry, I'm going to put you back on the screen. A fun day that costs how much? A fun day,
15 grand, okay? Because I've done my research.
Yeah.
So she says, we have a fun day. I says, okay, well, that's great. I says, but they had a fun day in Royton Park with some inflatables and stuff the other week. What I'm getting to you, Hazel, is we have hanging baskets. They have hanging baskets. But that aside, what is the benefit of a parish council? I said, what are you doing for local business? What are you doing to promote the community? What about a business plan? What about a community plan? And she said, oh, we've thought about that, but it would cost money to bring consultants in. I said, well, the only people you need to be consulting are the people of Shaw, not external Deloittes or anybody like that. Anyway, it got a bit frosty then, and she kind of turned and accused me of criticising her and complaining. So my interview didn't go well, let's be honest. So that was that. So then if we go back to the email chain.
Yeah, I'll put the screen back up. Just give me a second.
So I said I want to proceed. No problem. So let's just stop there.
Yeah, I'm going to get it all on. So that's again from Tony, so people can see from the cloud.
Yeah. So I return the form. No problem. And you have got a copy of the form. You want to bring it up? But
no, you've got the form.
So I said about my business acumen, about lived in Upshaw for 40 years. I'm invested. My children go to school within the parish. And I just mentioned, and also as I stood in the last election and got a good showing under the banner as an independent, under the banner of Pride of Oldham and Saddleworth, I think I can promote the activities and results of the parish council to a wider section of the community. And this was the reply I got. However, please note the parish council are and should be politically neutral. Okay, politically neutral, great. Politically neutral are not allowed to openly promote political parties in any of their public decisions or literature. As such, your reference to your political party connection is not a factor when co-opting. And then he goes on to say, although currently all parish councillors are members of the Liberal Democrats Party, now that's a coincidence. This is, in my view, more of a coincidence. I mean, anyway.
Let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you there, because if it is a coincidence, and I remember I come from a space of equality and human rights.
Yeah.
If there is over-representation by one group, even if it's accidental or it just happens that way, then it is the authority is duty-bound to widen participation. These are terms that I use that are found in every government document.
Yeah.
They have an equality duty and the requirement to widen participation, because I don't believe that everyone in Shaw is a Lib Dem supporter.
Yeah. I believe the local government authority best practice also states that co-option is a good opportunity to iron out some imbalances.
Yes,
in terms
yes,
of,
indeed, indeed, Mark, indeed. Yes,
Now,
you're spot on.
The problem we've got in Shaw is the Conservatives are thin on the ground, and the small amount of them are busy on other things. The Labour Party are too busy sitting in Hayside cricket once a month talking about the Peterloo massacre and the 1972 election, or the 3-day week or whatever, rather than do anything productive for the people of Shaw. So really, we need people in who, I'm an independent, although I do stand under the banner of Proud Oldham and Saddleworth, but they need to be promoting to a wider section of the community, and it should be leave your political views at the door. What can we do together to make Shaw a better place? So I think if you look through his email there, he specifically said, therefore, it would be best to remove references to party politics. Final paragraph from your form, which I did. I've just removed it and just put, I'm well known in Shaw, etc. So that was that. I'm thinking, we're getting on
so
here.
this is all right. This is a 24-hour process from the day before to the next day. Yeah, 23rd, 24th.
Yeah. Things are moving fast here, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get back to him, just to give him my view. So I've just put it. It is my view, irrespective of whether the council is fully made up of members of one political party by accident or design, it still does. I want to get this point across. It still does not represent the wider community, as obviously being all the same mindset politically. This does not reconcile with the wide and sometimes opposing views about what's best for our community.
I don't think that's unreasonable at all, Mark. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think anyone will say that, or anyone will find anything unreasonable in your tone or in your exchanges. You've entered this in good faith, and you're asking them to consider you because, one, you not just live in the area, but you will add diversity to the space. But Mark, come on. You are a white man. White men aren't allowed to bring diversity to spaces. So, but carry on.
Unless you're Howard Sykes, but that's another matter. So, the parish clerk's got back to me with some.
Just a one-line thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, and then he's like, much appreciated regards, Tony. So I've got back to him again. Thank you for your guide. I'm questioning the impartiality of the councillors. I don't see how they can have this political mindset. But he's assured me that they leave that political mindset at the door. The parish council is about the parish council. It's not about them all being liberals and making decisions as liberals. It's nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with that. He's put that in writing. So
that's not right, because when you elect a parish councillor, and the names on it, when you go and vote for one, the party's represented. Which party they belong to is on there.
Well, I've seen I put that in that email. And every parish councillor who's currently sitting has received sponsorship from the Liberal Democrats. That's on their returns. So to say they're independent, well, it kind of like got them elected. So this is the response on that. Apparently, it's mandatory.
Sorry, who is this Tony? By the way, I don't know him. Who is he?
This is Tony Hilton. He's the parish clerk. Now, I do sympathise with Tony.
No. You can sympathise. You guys are too polite, so I don't care. You can sympathise. He knows exactly what he's doing. Is he employed by the council, or is he?
No, he's actually employed by the people of Shaw.
Okay, so he's paid for by the
parish council.
The parish, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did he get the job?
Who knows?
Yeah, I
don't know.
I think I know full well how he got the job.
Well, I didn't see it advertised. But then again, I didn't see any notice on any lampposts or any notice board regarding co-option, 14 days, etc., etc. But I don't know. There we are. So I've still tried to go through the process. And as you can see there, apparently it's a complex issue, far too complicated for me to understand. I'm just a mere resident of Shaw, trying to put himself over the parish council.
That's because we're all thick, aren't we, Mark? That's consistent.
Yeah. But I think so. Have we got any more on that on the emails? Here we are. So again, I'm trying to get across to him about the impartiality from party affiliations. But I'm trying to get through. Look, what you're saying just doesn't add up. If you're all members, if you had like a football forum and you said, right, we want to represent the views of all football fans, but we've got this 14 people and we're all City fans or we're all United fans, or by definition, your mindset and your judgment, and it's going to be skewed, isn't it? One of the things about having a parish council where they say it's totally independent from party politics would be that you get a balance, like a parliament or whatever. You get a balance of ideas and this, that, and coming up. And I just don't genuinely believe that balance exists. So I've been notified, obviously, since I've been unsuccessful.
They were never having you on, mate. But go on.
No, they managed to find a quick replacement, as we found out. Pretty much on the day I applied, they found out somebody was no longer going to carry on, so they managed to, out of thin air, find a suitable replacement. Now, I was notified then by the parish clerk that they took a democratic vote on the night, and it was discussed on the night of the parish meeting, and unfortunately my services and my skill sets weren't deemed satisfactory. And then you contacted me, Roger.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First thing. All right. Let me put this up. I've got an echo on. Have you got anything on at your end?
No.
I can feel it. I can hear an echo, but I'll persevere. Let me put this up. So the person they found is this Gail M. Stott. This is the expression of interest, and I've deleted her address and telephone number because I don't post people's the pictures of people's front doors on the internet. I leave that to the Labour Party and their associates to do. Mark, so was that part of your Labour Party induction, by the way? Because you were a member of the Labour Party like me. I don't remember any of that.
No, I don't. No.
And that's her skill set. But ignore her skill set. You could argue one thing, I could argue another. She works for Manchester Council, from what I can gather.
Right.
To do with allotments. Yeah.
Well, great. Yeah, we've got a bit of a shortage of allotments in Shaw.
It's a real Lib Dem sort of, skill set. She works in local authority, working it. But this is the bit, mate. That Tony, that numpty, that man, that clerk has just been exposed. Look at this. Signed, girl. She's not even signed it. Right?
That's shocking.
One, she's not even signed it, and it's dated the 23rd. Now, what we've got to understand there, Mark, just hold on a second. I'm going to put you on mute so the echo goes. What you've got to understand here, Mark, with this document, and I'll put it up first so everyone can see it. This document, to me, is nothing other than, Paul, I'll put you up. I have no evidence, apparently. Oh, I never have evidence, do I, Paul? Yeah, idiots. Absolute idiots. The council, Oldham Council, the Labour Party, the Lib Dems, all of them, the officers, they take the people of this town for fools, right? Here we have a document signed with its name there, rather than an actual signature, but dated the 23rd of June. The 23rd of June at 9:24, Mark. At 9:24 is when you contacted them. I'll tell you what's happening here, mate, and it doesn't take a genius to work it out. And I'm sure on email trail, if the council went in, because this is the people of Shaw's money, if the council went in and looked at that BT Internet email account, they will find this is what I believe took place. Oh, shit. He wants to become a parish councillor. Find someone, find anyone fast. But it gets worse for him, Mark. So first of all, that date. Is that date a coincidence? Go on, Mark. Let's hear you.
I'm just speechless. For me, this is a parish clerk working for the parish. He's not working for Howard Sykes. He's working for the parish. I'm sorry, but I think that's gross misconduct.
He could, and I'll bring the email back up. Just give me a second of what he said to you right at the beginning of that email chain. Let me bring it back up. These people think we are stupid. Here we go. That's you. Look at the time. 9:24 on the 23rd. Yeah. However, I must inform you that the council will be considering recruiting current vacancies at the meeting where we have received interest from candidates. So at 11:08 in an email, he's claiming he's received interest from candidates. Bring it on, Tony, whatever your name is. Let's see it. Let's see your evidence. This town, this council, all of them, throughout, they get caught out time after time after time. They get caught out and still they carry on. How does that make you feel, Mark, now you've just seen that? What do you think?
Very disappointed. Very disappointed. I just feel like, you know, it's almost like you just go through this charade and you're not good enough to join the club. You know, you're not good enough. The people of Shaw, you know, we know what's best for you. I mean, some of the antics we'll go through after we've discussed this application that people have come forward and made me aware of are quite frankly appalling, if not illegal. And I don't personally dislike this parish clerk. He's been helpful in some respects, but...
Nah, he hasn't. You're too nice.
Well,
you people, you're too nice.
It's just...
You're too nice. He knows exactly what... He won't be able to evidence. He won't be able to evidence that application coming in because the thing is, Mark, so you're very clear, she did not sign that document. It is typed in. And if you type your name in something... It usually means because you've emailed it over. What time was that emailed over?
Yeah. The other thing is, Roger, I've got the email. He specifically contacted me because I'd not hand-signed mine. So I've got the email to say, Mark, I've received your form, but it's not signed in person. Please, can you email it over as quickly as possible? So he's well aware of the procedure and it just doesn't...
Who lives in Shaw? People of Shaw who listen to me. This is corruption. This is nothing other than corruption. This is not a far-right conspiracy theory. This has got nothing to do with race. This is just black and white corruption. This is keeping you out on purpose. Where is the document, Tony, whatever your name is? Where is the document that shows that this woman... Oh, shall I carry on? Shall I bring up more?
Can it get worse?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So first of all, I think what we've demonstrated to the people of Shaw is that not only were you dissuaded, but then it's very clear that unless they come up with an email confirming that this application was received before 9:24 on that morning, they've shoehorned someone in and backdated someone's application. I think that's what I'm getting at. Yeah?
Well, it's obvious.
Yeah. And then... I'm sorry to do this to you. So this is a screen grab, of an email. You can see it there. It is recommended that you please support and approve Gail Stott and Stephen Town, to be co-opted. Look at the top. Was decided not to hold our usual Lib Dem group meeting. We have therefore provided some advice for agenda item, parish co-option, please. Below, So this is an instruction from a Lib Dem councillor on who to support, who they should be voting for. They have been fully panelled, right? And then it goes underneath. Mark Hints is not recommended for approval. He is standing as an independent candidate and therefore likely to work against the group. So all of this nonsense from that Tony bloke of it not being politically party-led It's there clear. It's political. And I'll get to who this email's from in a second. But you can see straight away these are Liberal Democrat instructions from Councillor Louis Hamblett. There you go. There you go. And also you can see Councillor Hazel Gloucester is referenced with her phone number, so she's clearly been briefed by Councillor Louis Hamblett. I talk about cartels. This isn't a cartel, this is a cabal. They are keeping you out there. Sorry, Mark, I'm going to put your picture up. I can see what you're looking like, and I think it's important that the people of the town see what you look like.
It's not just me. They're keeping anyone out. That is absolutely shocking. I mean, I think that Louis Hamblett should be resigned. He should resign.
And Hazel Gloucester should be formally investigated.
I agree. I'll be taking legal action over this. It's as simple as that. I've been...
Well, you need to know that my information is, regardless of what they say, Mark, it's not false. And these email chain, I'm sure, exists. It's real. This is a screen grab. I wouldn't share it otherwise. This is a real document. This is a real document.
When you start... some of the things I've been hearing as well, I'd like to share. One of the things I mentioned about procurement, handing out...
procurement, come on, procurement. Don't make me laugh, procurement. They're just handing out contracts to the mates, aren't they? If they're keeping you out here...
Let's just say, for instance, I don't know, you wanted to hand out a 10 grand contract for a CCTV, or say, let's just use a scenario. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to check the energy use on the parish offices, and you got, I don't know, Kenyan plumbing and heating involved to price up a new boiler and new whatever, solar panels and 10 grand or whatever, or might be in the pipeline. Now, I think you mentioned to me as well, Raja, that the Oldham, they've also, Shore and Crompton Parish Council have had an audit, and procurement come top of the billing.
Yeah.
Because they've no procurement policy in place.
No policies on procurement. But this is taxpayers' money. This is taxpayers' money. You don't have a say in it. Every council taxpayer in Shore has to pay an extra amount.
Yeah, that's what
Oldham Council Audit and Counter Fraud Team. There you go. Go on.
Yeah.
Will you wave that around? Go on.
Yeah. So what I will be demanding is a full investigation into past contracts. So that includes Groundwork Trust, which Mr. Sykes has declared associations with.
Oh, they don't care.
No, they'll just...
They don't care. They don't care.
We're paying 12 grand just to have some litter paying. So I'm absolutely livid that not only is this Liberal Democrat social club is keeping other people out, they are spending our money how they see fit. And we're not getting value for money. Clearly, even Oldham's council, that says something, doesn't it? Oldham Council's Audit and Counter Fraud Team.
Well, let me carry on with the counter fraud. Sit back.
Okay.
Sit back. We've had Hazel Gloucester incriminated.
Yeah.
We've had some parish councillor incriminated.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know whose grubby prints are all over all of this, but we know we'll put that to one side.
One thing I do want to bring up as well is, and this is, people have come to me on this one, is the nervousness, or shall I say, the not very comfortable with Councillor Gloucester, who's not a parish councillor. Chris Gloucester.
Well, it's a husband and wife team, aren't they? He's an ex-copper, isn't he?
He seems to have undue influence on certain councillors, in my opinion. I know his latest one is trying to turn the Royal British Legion into a Yates's Wine Lodge in Shore, but we'll see how he gets on with that. But one thing I'm hearing, and I'm not mentioning any names whatsoever, because it could be a criminal matter, is there could be the possibility that people might come forward and say, whilst they've been joined as parish council, they have felt pressured into joining the Liberal Democrats. Maybe.
Oh, hold on. So once you join the parish council, if you're not already a Liberal Democrat, you soon have to be. That's very Mason-like. I remember sitting in places in my government days of where, you know, because and I'm not a Mason and I never have been a Mason, but I remember how the Masons would try and recruit, you know?
Yeah. So we're building up some evidence on that, because obviously there might be criminal procedures. Who knows?
Well, let me just put this up. Sorry, Paul. So I'm keeping you focused because I need to keep you focused, because I think sometimes you don't appreciate how severe what this issue on its own is. Yeah. So I know there's other stuff, but let me focus you on this. Okay.
Okay. Paul,
more evidence ready? You've got 2 councillors, a parish councillor and one of the Gloucesters of the husband and wife team already incriminated. Yeah. Let's carry on. This is from, and I'll let you tell you who it's from first. You can see Councillor Susan Moore. Yeah. I'll let you read that out to us, please, Mark. Can you see it? Can you read that for me, please? There's 4 pages, but I'd like you to read it.
Oh, I must say then, I did write a letter. When I found out I wasn't being accepted, I wrote a letter and said,
ignore that. Come on, just read this. I'm not interested in the I wrote this, he wrote that, because I think the content of this is significant. So sorry, start again and read it, because I want you to read this.
Thank you for your email. Mr. Hince is making some big accusations here, and it's a shame.
Stop. The first accusation you have made was that, you know, you're basically, what took place was that they shoehorned someone in, and the evidence clearly shows. So they've got to prove that, yeah?
Yeah.
And the second accusation was, if you're not a Lib Dem, you're excluded from it. And we've seen the email screen grab that I've just leaked, which shows that the Lib Dems were instructed not to vote for you because you hadn't been vetted and you weren't a Lib Dem, right? So so the allegations or the accusations are evidenced, yeah?
Yeah, they're true. Here we are. It's a shame that he has been unable to find the time to come to any meetings. I've been told in writing not to come to any meetings because of COVID.
Yeah, that's in the email.
Yeah, I was told that none of the other candidates were had to go, and they would be judged in my absence. So parish council and the committees, they're just before, during the application process. Oh, here we go. My reason for rejecting Mr. Hince's application last night, articulated at the meeting, was that Mr. Hince appears not to want to get involved. You won't let me with voluntary work done by the parish council members.
No, just stop there. I'm going back. I'm going back. Look at that. Mark Hince is not recommended for approval as he is standing as an independent candidate and is therefore likely to work against the group. If anyone has any questions in relation to this co-option, please contact Hazel. So that is the reason.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Carries on.
Despite his management qualifications and ample business skills, no examples were offered in advancing any area of the parish council. Well, you don't advertise any of them. You've got to get in to find out.
Oh, just hold on, Mark. No examples were given of what? Of advancing any areas of the parish council. Yeah.
Right.
Flick. Find me, please, of her example. This is her application. I can do this all day, Mark. I can do this all bloody day. Anytime you want. Anyone in Oldham Council, anytime you want. I can do this all bloody day.
Unbelievable. I see exactly what you're saying. There's nothing there to really justify what she's saying, is there?
Was they decided on this woman who didn't even sign her form? Was her example?
Do just absolutely no credibility whatsoever, have they? They've lost all credibility. It's it's just a sham. It's an absolute sham, and it's got to stop.
What was her example?
I don't know. I'm just seeing that
Yeah. See. So there you go, Mr. Hit.
She said something about. Let's have a look.
No examples were offered in advance in any areas the parish council is able to work in to improve the quality of life and opportunity for residents. So where is your new person's examples? You know, Mark. Sorry, if you were black,
Yeah.
I would be filing a racial discrimination case. If you're a woman, I would be filing a sexual discrimination case. If you were disabled, Mark, pretend to be gay for a week. You were gay at the time of submitting your application.
Or a Lib Dem. That it beggars absolute belief. The Liberal Democrats, the clue's in the title, isn't it? Is that, do these people actually sit and absorb what they're doing and what they're saying? Do they actually, where we go here?
This is the best bit. Turning to the politics of the situation. I thought there was no politics. Is that not what that Tony guy said?
Absolutely. He made me change my form.
Hints was not upfront in his application.
What?
I've not got the rest of it, but I presume what they're meaning is you weren't upfront in your application of you're proud of Oldham and Saddleworth links.
I was nothing but upfront with it. This is... To accuse you to... I've got to read this.
Sorry, I'm going to move away from the mic whilst I carry on laughing. You just...
Can I read? Let me just absorb this, because I'm reading and absorbing it at the same time. It's a skill. Tony, as clerk of the council... What's this? To accuse you, Tony, as clerk of the council demonstrates this ignorance, in my view, and to try to undermine the cohesion of our group, the Lib Dem group, is she referring to, illustrates broader maleficence and political motives, ironically aimed at the wrong party, but they will wear Tory clothes for integration. I'm ex-Labour. Ingratiation, sorry, forgive me. Purposes with the electorate, particularly aimed at Saddleworth. But as this letter indicates, aimed at what is she going on about? I have absolutely...
She's speaking on behalf of both the Liberal Democrat group, but also as the parish council. She says so herself.
Just, who are these people?
So she's going on about volunteering, non-stop volunteering, yeah, as well.
Yeah, non-stop volunteering.
I'll wheel it back. Where is she volunteered?
Well, unless they know her and they've had a conversation.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You fill in an application form. You can't give someone a role because you know them.
No. I know you said. I knew you said it was going to be bad, Raja, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Really, that Louis Ambler. I mean,
Sam Al-Hamdani, Howard Sykes, Chris Gloucester. Anytime you want, anywhere you want. You hid a child sex offender from the people of the town. One of your own, Rod Blythe, convicted for child sex offences. You hid that. Why do the people of Shaw vote for these people? That's why. Why do the people of Shaw and some people in Saddleworth vote for the Liberal Democrats? What part of them is liberal and what part of them is democratic?
Just want to get over the shock of it.
It's like Al Qaeda opening a refuge for battered women or something. You know, it's a joke.
What I'm making a statement here, Raja, and I want them to hear it because they will watch this, no doubt, at some point if they're not watching it now. Is we're going to take democracy back for the people of Shaw. and we're gonna get you out democratically.
No. Say that again. I want you say this on your own, please.
Yeah. We've had enough. Time and time again, every person I've spoken into in Shaw in the past 6 months, since I've got into this, nobody has said Shaw's a better place in the past 20, 30 years. Now, where you, Mr. Sykes, and your cabal want to take responsibility or lay the blame is a matter for your own conscience. We're going to take Shaw back. So the next time the parish council elections come along, we're going to be all over it. And we're going to make Shaw a better place, because clearly you table fillers are just not doing it. I'm looking at the books. You've got £183,000 in the bank, which is good. But what you're doing, it's just sitting on a current account from what I see. What are you doing? What are you doing to promote Shaw? What are you doing to promote business? You know, you could set up a credit union. There's so many ideas that people have got for Shaw. And it's not about hanging baskets that we're paying twice for, or Christmas trees, or 15 grand fun days, which, let's face it, I've been to them. There's not a lot of fun there. It's time for a new approach. And the more I'm thinking, absorbing what I've learned tonight, we're going to take this further. We want to see how would Louis Hamblett resign from the parish council.
Well, the clerk needs to be suspended pending a formal investigation.
Yeah,
otherwise the people of Shaw should not be paying the council tax, parish council bit, because this is now, it's black and white. It's black and white what they've done. It's unlawful. What they've done here is unlawful.
Yeah, the thieving our parish council offers. They're withholding what that could be. And I'll tell you this, if that parish council can't, or you won't let it represent the people of Shaw, then we'll get rid of it. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but with the upcoming boundary changes, where they're expecting a load more people to pay this surplus, this addition to their council tax.
Yeah, it's called a precept.
Well,
the
precept. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. When I go knock on their doors and tell them what they're going to be paying it for, and showing them this video, let's see if they're prepared to sign up for it. Because the way I'm thinking, I'm not. Unbelievable.
Mark, you know what? When I started this, it all started with an email, a message from a friend's wife. Raj, will you have a look at the mosque? And look where it's got us, because we know it's rotten. This town across every level is rotten.
It just
the rot is everywhere, and no one's going to come in. The government won't come in and clean it up, because the government know that and this is a Tory government, they know if they come into Oldham and take it over on the remit of why it's rotten, this isn't Liverpool just fraud corruption. This is, this is more, this is deeper, this is darker, what's took place here. If they do it here, then the dominoes start falling. Where will it fall next? Rochdale? Kirklees? Bradford?
Fortunately, my only concern is Shaw and the wider community in terms of Oldham. What goes on in other places is what goes on in other places. There is enough of us now. The feeling and sentiment in Shaw that people contact me daily. There is these 1,000 people who continually vote. I'll find them. I'll find them on the doorstep. I'll find them in the street. And come next election, I think it's Hazel Gloucester, who's demonstrated her capabilities tonight, hasn't she? We will get you out, and we will make Shaw better. I mean, I walked around Shaw today. The amount of HMOs going in, the amount of derelict buildings. The Liberal Democrats have done more damage to Shaw than the Luftwaffe ever could. It's just, we've got to stop this rot. There's good people in Shaw. There's money in Shaw. There's transport links. We've even got a private school. The money's there. The infrastructure's there. The will is there. But we're being solely let down by our politicians. And you've got a parish council there which has all the opportunity to make a difference. And no, it's just a self-serving organisation.
Yeah. Mark, thanks for joining me. I know a lot of you guys get stick for joining me, and you'll be called far-right racist and activist, but this is a matter well, you people can judge for themselves what we've just exposed. Mark, a pleasure as always. Thank you very, very much. Okay, you take care, buddy.
Thank you, Roger. Take care.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Wow.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Wow. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? It won't make the Oldham Times. It won't make the Oldham Chronicle. It won't make the Manchester Evening News or the Saddleworth whatever. Charlotte Green, your BBC-funded local democracy reporter, will not be covering this. Okay, we have just over 90 people viewing us at this moment in time. Thank you very, very much to Mark Hins for he'd messaged me, and he was really, I've been in London for a couple of days actually, and he was messaging me, and I was speaking to my contacts whilst I was on the coach. I caught the coach to London. It was £4.95, and then I did what everyone does with rich friends. I knocked on a door and I smiled and said, "Hello, I was just happened to be passing," and yeah, and then I got fed tea. So I had a great time in London. But all the time, Mark was messaging me, and I put some feelers out, and it's predictable, isn't it? How they behave is predictable. It doesn't surprise us anymore. It shouldn't surprise any of you. But that's Mark. And if you live in Shaw, you really need to ask yourself, why are you paying your precept to the parish council when this is what they do? And the fraud team. Did you see that cover that Mark put up? The council's fraud team are looking at the parish council. The council's own fraud team have been called in. Because that's what that document was he was waving, by the way. Okay. Give me a second. I've got to load up the next lot of stuff I'm doing with you. Let me get... So I'm also getting messages. People have been able to log in and stuff like that. But I'm just directing them to YouTube. So I'm really sorry. I'm not meant to confuse anyone. My intention is the first Sunday of each month, these transmissions will come out. You can see they take time. We're at 9:15. We started at 8 o'clock, and we'll go on for another hour at least, I think. So they take time to do. They take a lot of effort to do. And I coming out of COVID, I need to also pay my own bills and go out and work and earn my own money the best way I can, because it's very difficult for me to get work at the moment. Being no doubt that writing about me in the way they are, I'm sticking my name and my photograph everywhere as a far-right activist or somehow involved in fraud when I've been cleared at every level, never questioned. None of those things matter to these politicians in the Labour Party or the council officers, the fake liberal elite and the Metro, and their journalist friends. What they want by taking me out isn't taking me out. It's a message to first of all, it's a message to every working class person out there. Know your place. And this is what happens if you get ideas above your station. And it's a message to every black and ethnic minority person. The only place you belong is in the ghetto. And you can have a job as long as you're working in the ghetto with the other ethnics. But as soon as you step out of there, we're going to put you back in the place. Because that's what the Labour Party are. They are racist. And that's what Labour Party run councils are. They are anti-working class. And they are happy to trade the security and safety of white working class girls in exchange for votes. And as Batley recently proved, they're happy to throw gays under the bus as well. Okay. Someone asked a question. I'll put this back up. Someone asked a question, and it was to do with what happens if a council goes bankrupt. If a council goes bankrupt, it can only deliver statutory services. So any new spend is stopped straight away, and they've got to get involved with the government, and the government get called in. But if a council, if Oldham got made bankrupt, I honestly think the serious fraud squad would have to be called in, because I would question the where the money has gone. It's not just that we've gone bankrupt and it's been wasted away. I'd question where the money has gone, particularly, and I'll keep going back to this point, whether you like it or not, particularly because of the links of organised crime with key individuals in the council. Money launderers, heroin dealers, people traffickers. Organised crime has infiltrated this council. And they don't care. They will brazenly showcasing that they now control the council. That's how brave they are. Okay, please, 43 likes. Like the transmission if you're enjoying the transmission. And if you can buy me a coffee, I can only exist off that in terms of I am using a software package, as you saw as I was speaking to Mark, and how we were bringing up comments and stuff. It's called Ecamm Live. My renewal is due. I paid for it the first time. I haven't got the money to pay for it this time. It's £275. I've got rid of all the other things that I don't need, but there are certain programs I can't manage to transmit without. So if you want these transmissions, if you want these monthly transmissions to continue in this way, it's I need to raise as much of that as possible towards it. So please, and I'm not ashamed for asking for help, because I think we're all in this together. I think it's very clear the value I bring. Which brings me to Joshy from the mill. Joshy from the mill objects that I ask people to support me. The mill is a private newsletter and podcast that he launched after moving up from London. And he charges, I think, $5.95 first, now it's £7 a month. So if you want to read Josh's stuff, apart from what is released about me today, in which he's just put it on a free-for-all, it is £7 a month. And because he lives in the south of Manchester, he's had, and they're boasting about it here, you can see, by late September of last year, it had amassed enough subscribers to become Herman's, that's his surname, full-time focus. So he got to 775 paying subscribers. So he's got to about £70,000 straight up. Most of them pay for the year up front, because that's what people there can do. I ask for £2 only if you find value in what I do. Joshy, after Sean Fielding went to him, wrote to me accusing me of being a far-right activist. I've stopped being scared of people like Joshy. So I retorted to him that he's just another Labour Party rent boy. And by the end of this sequence now, I think, well, you decide if there's any doubt. This is Joshy. He used to work in London in one of the newspapers down there. If you type his name in, that photograph will come in with an article he wrote. Yes, that's him at the bottom of an escalator in his pyjamas. He'd gone to work in his pyjamas because this is what the fake liberal metropolitan elite do. They think it's great. They laugh at us. They look down on us with contempt. We are beneath them. So not only had he gone to work in his pyjamas, he had to say which designer made his pyjamas, and that the fact that they were something like £700. That's right. Josh's pyjamas are £700, which is fine, I suppose, when you get £70,000, most of it prepaid, so you can write your Labour Party sponsored nonsense. Grooming gangs, cartels, and the poisoning of Oldham's politics. Sean Fielding was a young council leader and a Labour rising star. Then he found himself accused of sanctioning the sexual abuse of children. And then what Joshua does is he copies my bio, essentially. Post like this, big on drama. It wasn't a post, mate. It was a bio. So first of all, immediately, he's a dickhead. Because anyone who clicks on my Facebook profile will see that is my biography. It's what I described the Recusant 9 channel to be about. And within seconds, a second line, far-right activists like Tommy Robinson. They play on the idea that Asian grooming gangs are operating with impunity in our communities. Joshy, Operation Augusta confirmed that Asian grooming gangs were operating in our communities with impunity. That's not a far-right conspiracy, you prick. It's detailed in that report. Police officers were instructed to ignore the grooming and gang rape of white working class girls when the perpetrators were Asian. It's in the report. I don't know what a white activist is, but I like this. By Raja Mia, a British man who grew up in a Bangladeshi family in Oldham. Do you not find that disingenuous? I do. British man who grew up in a Bangladeshi family. Is that like somehow saying I'm not Bangladeshi? I grew up in a Muslim family and I've given up being Muslim. I grew up in... Do you see? The insinuation there is that I'm a sellout. What are you, Joshy? If I describe myself, I wouldn't describe myself as a Bangladeshi family I grew up in. I grew up in a working class community. But do you see? Straight away, the race thing is there, straight away. It was roughly this time last year that I first became aware of Mia. Blah, blah, blah. Oldham I had sent him something. Nah, I hadn't. Because I don't trust any of these journalists. Long live videos in which he addresses an audience of local followers on social media and walks them through his latest claims. You've just seen my most recent, what I've walked you through. Remember Skinny on Detail claims? Now tell me that wasn't evidenced. Did I not show you a sequence of emails and communications and application forms? His posts and videos are scattered with the names of local politicians, mosque leaders, and community figures. But in the past year, he's trained his guns on one individual in particular, Sean Fielding. There's a reason why I focused on Sean Fielding, and that's because he's the leader of the council. It's not him as an individual, you moron. It's the fact that he held the position as leader of the council and he had the power to refer the grooming and gang rape of children in my town to the government, but instead has been involved in a series of actions where it is clear to many of us in this town that he was trying to undermine victims from coming forward. He put his ripped underpants on Twitter with his girlfriend holding him up whilst he describes his sexual fantasy. Not long after, he was forced to announce an inquiry into the grooming gangs. What sort of young woman would have come forward when your council leader is doing that in the time he did that? And if he thought that was an accident, he appeared on the front page of the local paper, calling victims and their families liars. At the same time, his council sent out letters asking victims that they knew of to come forward and give evidence. He blocked Brian Hobin's attempt to refer this matter to the government. No. I don't care when Sean was born or any of that nonsense, but you can see it's a puff piece on Sean Fielding. That's him there. Sean Fielding is so... Sean, why don't you share with the people of Oldham where you're working? Who's giving you a job, Sean? How did you get that job? Was there an application form, Sean? Who's paying for your wages, Sean? Fielding did well at school, blah, blah, blah. Went to university. His entry into local politics came via Tesco. He did bits of work for Angela Rayner. He became one of the country's youngest council leaders in what was described as a coup. It was a coup. Jean Stretton was removed, ousted by Sean Fielding and Arud Shah, who both had direct links to Jim McMahon. Clearly, Jean Stretton wasn't following McMahon's instructions well enough. But some of his posts on Twitter suggest that maybe he was too young to run a major council in a large and historically complex town. Some of his tweets. He sometimes came across as thin-skinned. He called Proud of Oldham Saddleworth poos. No, he did more than that. He did much more than that. He mocked Paul Eric's disability. He did much more than that. Specifically, an allegation on Facebook that Oldham Council was turning a blind eye to widespread grooming by gangs of Asian men. That the council was deeply corrupt and had improper relationships with Muslim cartels. Apparently, he was quite dismissive of it. He wasn't dismissive of it. He sent me a massive, ranting, threatening email. It's still in my inbox. I shared it. In this email, he told me what he was going to do to the people who were leaking me information from the council. Quite dismissive of it. Whatever. And I've spoken to Mark and Kath. They get drawn into this, and I've told Mark and Kath this. And I'm fine with them. And they've learnt a lesson here. That speaking to these sorts of reporters, it doesn't matter what you say to them. They'll pull out what they want and make it fit the narrative they've already got. And the narrative they've already got is somehow that I'm making up this stuff to do with the grooming gangs. And that's what that's what Josh's exchange is with Mark and Kath. And here's a picture of Mark with the England flag outside his house. And Fielding thinks, he's said it here, that's a dog whistle, and that the subtext is majority white Failsworth is being cut out by the much more diverse Oldham. So what Fielding is basically saying is the racists in Failsworth. I've shared this many a time. I've spent many a day, and I have many friends in Failsworth, and I've not experienced racism in Failsworth. And I've not come across any of my Asian friends who've singled out Failsworth and said, Failsworth is a racist area. It's just not true. This is what they want. Again, I don't think Mark only talked about Tommy Robinson, but that was the quote he got, Mark. I don't agree with the likes of Tommy Robinson or anything like that, but they had to get the name of Tommy Robinson is. About Raja Mia's allegations. Kath, on the other hand, is willing to wade in. Kath references young women that she knows of. White victims, Asian men. I like this. Some of his writing, this is not Kath, by the way, this is Joshy, £700 pyjama man from London. Some of his writing, like the passage I quote at the top of the piece, sounded like the blurb on the back of a cheap thriller. To get the word cheap in there, you see. And when I dug into his blogs, the idea he was promoting seemed pretty close to the academic definition of far-right conspiracy theories. I didn't know there was an academic definition of far-right conspiracy theories. The grooming and gang rape of white working-class girls by Asian men and the subsequent cover-up is not a conspiracy theory. It has been proven. Arood Shah's relationship with gangsters is not a conspiracy theory. It has been proven. Mia writes in one blog, if you are white, working class and living in Oldham, you should be worried. And says local politicians no longer need to court the white vote or even listen to their concerns. How is that a far-right conspiracy theory? That would mean that you are racist and far-right if you believe that. I think it's very clear. Look at the low turnout in this town. White working-class communities are disenfranchised and see no value in voting Labour. They won't go and vote for the racists, and they won't vote Tory. That's what I've said consistently. They would rather not vote. And what did Batley prove? Batley proved they won't vote racists. That Britain First woman or whatever she's called, or whatever party it was, she stood there. You know how many votes she got? She got 50 votes. 50 votes in a by-election. It's nothing. Yet the way the Labour Party lot was spinning it, is Batley is full of rabid racists. The white working class are demonised. They're not racist. They would rather not vote than go and vote for racists. That's what I've consistently said. If white working class people think they are being listened to less than Asian people, it's because they are. I didn't just say that. It's in a government report or words to that effect. Go and look at the government reports post the riots. It's not my basic hypothesis. Go and look at the Casey report. Is the block vote a conspiracy theory? Go and ask the people, go and ask the Tory party how they won in Medlock Vale. You'll learn all about the block vote. They didn't all become conservatives. On the other hand, normally when you come across these kinds of ideas online, the writers tend to be labeling, I don't know, labeling is the context of that word, tend to be labeling communities they have no real knowledge of. What knowledge do you have of my community, you moron? With your £700 pyjamas. Come on. Come up from London. Earned £70,000 by writing a newsletter and a podcast. Yeah. Whereas Mia grew up in the town's Bangladeshi community. There again, I did not grow up in a Bangladeshi community. I grew up in Westwood. It was a multicultural community where I grew up. The perspective, the lens I see the world through is only possible because of the mixed, diverse, loving, interracial, intercommunity space where I was raised. I am not quick to judge white people any more than I'm quick to judge anyone else. In glosses over this part. In 2004, he was awarded an MBE for his work on social inclusion. I was awarded an MBE because I am an expert on race, on cohesion, on building positive relationships, of dealing with the underlying issues that need to be dealt with if we are all going to move forward together. Have I sworn at him yet? Dickhead. Mia's online postings mix sweeping conspiratorial claims about gangs and cartels with highly specific details about Oldham Council and its leading officers and politicians. Some of which are true. He doesn't mention which ones are true because that wouldn't suit his narrative. He doesn't mention the fact that the leader of Oldham Council, Arood Shah, hangs off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer who also happened to be Dale Cregan's getaway driver. And some of which Mia has himself revealed via Freedom of Information requests. Oh, so if I've got information for Freedom of Information requests, that makes them true anyway, doesn't it, Joshy, you moron? The question you should be asking if you're a genuine journalist is, why am I having to get information that is in the interest of our town forced via Freedom of Information requests? Just before he started his prolific online posting about Oldham Council, Mia was the head of 2 collapsed school trusts. Actually, I wasn't the head of 2 collapsed 3, and you can carry on with this nonsense all you want. Special measures. Every school in Oldham has been in special measures. The school in Oldham we was involved in was targeted. We all know this, but this is it. In their short lives, the schools paid more than £2 million to multiple companies linked to Mia. No, they didn't. And not only did they not give me more than £2 million, all of this has been repeatedly investigated, repeatedly found. McMahon went to the Serious Fraud Office. He said so himself. He went to the National Crime Agency. And look where I am, and look where I live, and look how I live. Does anyone think I stole any money? And I'm this genius, have got away with it? Now, maybe he knows how to get away with stealing money off the basis of hanging out with convicted heroin dealers and writing them references, but I'm not from that place. I lead a very simple life with a small group of friends. I have one bank account with the co-op that I've had for God knows how many years, and that's it. Dickhead. Like this, a government investigation found a number of significant failings. But did they find any failings on me? Josh, is that not the relevant bit? If you've said something earlier about me. No, you've omitted that on purpose, aren't you? And this is the great bit. And Schools Week reported I've been secretly blacklisted. He won't say it because I'd sue him. Schools Week said I'd been secretly blacklisted. 1, you can't be secretly blacklisted because it's unlawful. And 2, I have the correspondence from the government themselves that said this is fabricated by Schools Week. And I'm still getting to the bottom of that because I'm certain I will find, if I can get to it, that Schools Week reporter has had email correspondence with both McMahon and people in Oldham Council. But smear away at me. You think I care? I had largely forgotten about Mia. Yeah, he'd largely forgotten about Mia. When in October last year, months after the messages from Oldham one of the Mills readers got in touch. Some woman apparently got in touch with him. I have no idea who she was. It wasn't me. Why would I go to him? Apparently my material was drawing her in. In amongst the wilder stuff, I don't know what the wilder stuff is the grooming and gang rape of children wild to you? Joshy, in your £600, £700 pyjamas from London? Is the gang rape of white working class girls wild for you? Is it something to laugh at? Is it something to trivialise? Oh, look. There are plenty of stories that were true. So which ones were false? Which one of my stories were false? Remember that Hannah Al-whatever Ottman? Fake news? But in all of her extensive articles, she would not describe one fake story? So which is my wilder stuff? Which one of the stories are not true? This is the best bit. This is the best bit. What? Like the fact that Shabir Ahmed, one of the main offenders in the Rochdale grooming scandal, had previously worked for Oldham Council. So now they're admitting it. They won't admit it formally, but through all of the media sources, they're admitting Shabir Ahmed worked for Oldham Council. And I've repeatedly said not only did he work for Oldham Council, he had access to vulnerable families, he had access to children, and he was a member of the Labour Party. And should you have not known? Should we have not been told that a council employee was the ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang? Should the council not have issued a statement? Should the council not have done an investigation and published their findings to reassure all of us that we were safe and our children were safe? You ready for the next bit? I had to keep a straight face for this bit. And the revelation that the council had failed to charge a Muslim community group for a piece of land it had sold them. The council says this was a mistake and the group will later billed. So I reveal that Oldham Central Mosque or whatever else, I force it out of them. And apparently they were later billed and it was a mistake. Can I have £100,000 and you can bill me 18 years later? It was a mistake, I've not been billed. Who believes that? Who believes that? The council says this was a mistake and the group was later billed. The council says this was a mistake. Oh. There was also a widely shared Manchester Evening News story from 2014 in which the paper said it could reveal that paedophiles are using shisha bars as child grooming dens, including in Oldham. And an awkward-looking email from a BBC journalist to the leader of the council which suggests the former council leader... Hold on. The email actually went to the former council leader, Jim McMahon. They weren't two different people. The leader of the council, which suggests the former council leader, Jim McMahon... No. Do you see how they're trying to distance him? Do you see that? That's a tactic. Now, first of all, in that sentence, widely shared... Until I released the Jim McMahon email trail, None of you had seen it. And they were going to sue me for libel. And they're going to put me in prison because it was fake and false. Now we all know none of it is fake and false. And he omits it again. Oh, screenshots of which were shared relentlessly by me. They weren't shared relentlessly by me. Tens of thousands of other people shared these screenshots. Maybe I should have done what you do, Jossie, and charge people money. Do you want to have a look at this screenshot? Pay me £7. Better still pay me up front for the year. I need a new pair of pyjamas. Note what he omits. He omits using the funeral of Lee Rigby. And he also omits that these things were actually true. The email trail was true. So again, where's the wilder stuff, Joshy? All of these things gave Mia's claims credibility. This is the best bit. I don't know who they're making reference to, but apparently my evidence, my dossier, my what I've released doesn't have enough. Doesn't have any evidence. The Electoral Commission found Oldham to be at risk of fraud. That was the Electoral Commission of postal vote fraud. The Electoral Commission. And of course, they tried to twist Mark and Kath around to say something like, oh, why don't I take my evidence to the police? And when he wouldn't go, I felt let down, to be honest. It's very clear why I didn't go to the police. And I've shared this. One is because this is not a matter for the police to cover up. This can only be addressed through public scrutiny, which you now have the information. Remember, the mainstream press won't report on it. They still haven't reported on it. They still haven't asked McMahon about the use of Lee Rigby's funeral. They still haven't published a single one of those emails. None of them. Local, national, international, none of them. And secondly, by going to the police, what's just happened? Greater Manchester Police is in special measures. 150 police officers want to leave. Even the police have said they wouldn't report crimes to the police. And Mark, Kath, and a few of us also now learnt what happens when you go to the police. What was Detective Inspector Kenny Blaine, the gatekeeper? Refused to look at any of the evidence. Look at that girl. Look at that young woman. Look at that young woman. I think Paul made reference to it earlier. Sorry, Paul. I'm just looking to see if I can find it. Here you go. 15-year-old girl raped. The DNA evidence was lost and Greater Manchester Police didn't even interview the rapist. Now, I'm not for going for the police. I have no trust in the police. Greater Manchester Police, I think, is very clear based upon my interactions and actions of what took place, and this is no disrespect to police officers who I know are trying their best, but the police force is corrupt. It's institutionally corrupt. And I'm not the only one saying that. And no, they didn't interview Mark's witnesses either. After offering all this support, we all sat in here as our party and went, why? If you've got proof, if you've got evidence, my God, you've got to go to the police and say. I'm sorry, Kath, but I think they've took you out of context. But this is what happens when you give statements to reporters like Joshy. They'll take a little snippet and ignore the rest. Mark then references the contacting of his employer, and this is Josh's defence. Josh is criticising me asking people to buy me a coffee. There you go, buy me a coffee. And the site shows plenty were paying him. This is a man who's earned £70,000 by selling a newsletter and a podcast. Is disputing or claiming or suggesting that I cannot do the same if I wanted to. Why is that, Josh? Is that because you're posh and white with the £700 pyjamas? And I'm a black kid from the ghetto. Are you to be treated more favourably because of that, Joshy? Dickhead. Absolute dickhead. In 2019, Fielding wrote a letter to Mark Wilkinson's employer, alleging that Wilkinson had sympathies for the far right and had allowed racist posts in the group, the Failsworth group that Mark and his wife run. Wilkinson says he was devastated by the complaint and the lengthy internal investigation, which followed within Sodexo. So this is the firm, the company that ran the attendance centres where he worked, during which Fielding is said to have had more than 10 contacts with the company. More than 10 times Fielding tried to get the man sacked on a far-right conspiracy, on a baseless allegation. In the end, the investigation could find no evidence of links to the far-right. See, he can't help himself. In the end, the investigation cleared Mark Wilkinson. And the investigation apparently did highlight an awkward incident which involved a member of Failsworth Independent Party photographed at a Tommy Robinson rally. Blah, blah, blah. The hypocrisy there for all of you is the leader of Oldham Council hanging off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer. Fielding says he only wrote to Wilkinson's employer as a last resort. So what was his first, second and third resorts? To try and stop him sharing Mia's defamatory claims. If they were defamatory claims, he should have sued me. I would have been arrested. Though they tried all of that, and none of my claims are defamatory, because I've evidenced what I've come up with. And here we are. Fielding identified himself as the leader of the council in these letters. So there you go. He abused his position as the leader of the council. And, omitted from here, Fielding was due to attend a standards complaint hearing. It had been forced through and he was due to attend, and the council delayed it until after the election, and now they don't have to do it. So Fielding, the council were even forced to acknowledge what had gone on. Fielding admits writing to 3 employers, so he tried to ruin the lives of 3 people. Falsely, maliciously. Actually, I know he's written to more than 3 people. And look at this. Still, Fielding had been sucked in. So it's not that he's done anything illegal or wrong. He's been sucked in or portioned. He's the leader of the council. Sucked in. Mia's tagline is "Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them." He often ends his Facebook posts with it, and an eerie audio version. Eerie? No, mate, it's called a northern accent. Eerie. but many of his posts seem purposely designed to strike fear into anyone reading or listening. I am scared. People are right to be scared that our children are being groomed and gang raped and the police have ignored it. These people are gangsters. Of course they're gangsters. They're convicted gangsters. They walk around, sell heroin. They're convicted heroin dealers. Let's be clear, the Labour Party is reliant on cartels. Of course it's reliant on the cartels. It's reliant on the Muslim bloc vote. And these cartels are criminals. Of course they've got criminals within them. They traffic people. They do traffic people. Proven. They sell drugs. Proven. They launder money. Arud Shah's brother is a convicted money launderer. They walk around with guns and grenades. Where? Have you been to Glodick? They kill people. They stab people. They rape people. They kidnap people. Proven, 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 proven. And one of those guys, who that applies to multiple times, was at the Labour Party count with Arud Shah in a white shirt with his Labour Party red rosette. Proven. Tortured. Kidnapped and tortured. Sexually abused. Videoed it. When the police turned up, they found blood splattered all over the walls. Proven. Pakistani gangsters. Proven. They will destroy their families, destroy their lives. Even if you died, they would limit how many people came to your funeral. They would. People would be scared. At the end of last year, Mia seemed to be honing in on Fielding specifically. No, I wasn't honing in on Mia, on Fielding specifically. I wanted him arrested because he had claimed that I was being investigated as part of a grooming gang operation and that I was a far-right activist, I was a criminal and a whole host of other things in complaints to other people's employers. I wanted him arrested for that. The police didn't arrest him because the police are bent. Detective Inspector Kenny Blaine is bent. The self-described gatekeeper failed to interview any of the victims, failed to look at the evidence and interview anyone, failed to interview Fielding, and decided no crime had been committed. And I'm not the only one who's saying the police are bent. The police force is in special measures. There's a reason why it's in special measures, because it's under the political influence and control of politicians. These politicians should be nowhere near the police. Oh, see the Union, the English flag there again, the St. George's Cross. Repeatedly. That's Joshy telling all of his South Manchester mates who paid a £7 a month or whatever it is, that give him his 70 grand for his £700 pyjamas. You're all a bunch of racists. The repeated use of the St. George's Cross in an article such as this is to point racism at you. You've got to take him out. You've got to take Sean Fielding out. Yes, I applaud the people of Failsworth to take him out, and they did. Now, they took him out for reasons of their own. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this other thing. This thing of how I'm somehow involved. Mia's broadcast tended to get dozens, and sometimes hundreds, of mostly supportive comments. Blah, blah, blah. I now genuinely fear at the thought of an organised paedophile ring operating at the Civic Centre. I do. Why else did they keep it hidden that Councillor Rod Blythe was convicted of child sex offences? What other reason did the council have to keep that hidden from the people of the town that one of their serving councillors was convicted for child sex exploitation offences? Multiple. One video attacking Fielding was promoted days before the poll to more than 5,000 Facebook users, securing 583 interactions. Hamish Falconer, a specialist. Hamish Falconer. The Valiant newspaper, what he omits to say is the Valiant newsletter is funded by the Labour Party. Do you not think that's relevant, Hamish? Here you go. Mia, he said, has ended up becoming an articulate advocate of a set of accusations of paedophile rings, postal fraud, and ethnic preference, all of which is redolent of some of the QAnon theories in the US. I couldn't give a toss about QAnon or the US. He doesn't say anything of what I've said is fake or fictitious or exaggerated or lies. Shabir Ahmed was the ringleader of the Rochdale paedophile gang. The Rochdale paedophile gang was made up exclusively of Asian, Muslim, predominantly Pakistani men. They were allowed to freely groom, gang rape and traffic white working class girls. That is not, nor ever has been, a conspiracy theory. It is fact, as is it fact that he worked for the council. Exactly, Paul. Any At about 9:30 p.m. on election day in May, Fielding took down his Facebook page. I don't want that to be a shrine for people to troll, he thought to himself. He had spent the day at polling stations and had been seen voters streaming in who he suspected were not voting for him. He thought it would be tight between him and Wilkinson. At the count, he was with his girlfriend. Oh, why didn't you say that his girlfriend works for his mate, Andy Burnham, the mayor? Oh no, it doesn't fit the narrative, does it? Was that false? Had I made that up? Nah. I think I've gone, Fielding told them. He says the others in the room were more upset than him, with several people crying. But when he tells a story, Fielding gets emotional himself. He wrote a statement for the media and went home. He didn't even have the decency to stay for the count. He didn't even have the decency, is what you're avoiding saying, Joshy. He couldn't bring himself to shake Wilkinson's hand. After what he's been saying and what he's put me through. Hold on, what did Wilkinson put you through? Fielding, you're the one who tried to get him sacked. You're the one who tried to get his daughter sacked. It is hotly disputed how influential Mia and his blogs and broadcasts were in the final outcome of the Failsworth West election. Am I doing anything illegal? Why? Do we have to go to privileged posh white folk to get the news? We can't share the news amongst ourselves? Working class people aren't allowed to talk to working class people? Is that what they're saying? We can only listen to authority? And they are the authority? Across the country, the Labour Party is taking a hammering. You want me to take the credit for that? Sorry, and I've got to laugh. I mean, it's nothing with the 77 people who are listening to me. He thinks the whole saga will put good people off from entering local politics. No, Arood Shah, the leader of Oldham Council, hanging off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer is what will put people off from entering local politics. The cover-up of grooming and gang rape of children that your council knew about, well, the delaying of a report that we all know is finished, gathering dust somewhere, waiting to be quietly released when no one will look, all cause minimum damage. Speaking of Arooj Shah, the new leader of Oldham Council and a close ally of Fielding is still believing she's a close ally of his. A close ally? Oh, Sean, I'm really your friend. I didn't want to be leader, no. They forced it on me. Fielding, you moron, listen. Why, when you knew it was going to be close and the election was coming, why was Jim McMahon, the leader of the council, out there campaigning for Abdul Jabbar relentlessly, but not out there campaigning for you? Have you stopped and thought that one through? Your mate, Jim, Arooj's boss. Yeah, Arooj's boss at the time. Why was he out campaigning for Abdul Jabbar and not campaigning for you? Arooj Shah thinks Mia swung the race. Arooj Shah, if you think I've swung the race for Fielding, you just wait to see what I do with you in South Chadderton. By the time I'm finished, everyone in South Chadderton is going to know about your open associations with gangsters. That ice cream parlour now, mocktail bar or whatever it is, that you backdated your declarations on. That photograph of you hanging off the arm. I'm going to crowdfund and make sure a leaflet goes in every house in South Chadderton. I'm going to put out there that you stood on the table and your first political speech, I want to see what the people of South Chadderton think, during COVID was to address a mob which included people who had damaged an Oldham business, a Jewish-owned Oldham business. I'm going to share with people how it was you, how the announcement of your leadership of the council was not made by a council press release. It was not made by the Labour Party. It was made by a gangster. You don't know. You just wait. When I emailed Mia about this story, he didn't just email me about this story, he emailed me with a series of, horrible allegations and accusations, but he doesn't say that. The simple fact is that Sean Fielding was defeated by the good people of Failsworth because of his actions and behaviour, not because of what you and the rest of your fake liberal metropolitan elite consider to be conspiracy theories. There you go. I'm not scared of saying that. That's exactly what I said to you. I said some more, didn't I, as well, Joshy, but you've not put that in. He said that associating with him, as in associating with me, the far right, was preposterous and no different. So Joshy claims I'm far right. So I said, associating me with me as the far right is preposterous and no different to me claiming that you, Joshy, align yourself with rent boys or have a cocaine addiction. You're a journalist. You can work out what I've just done there. Is it called a simile? Well, one is as preposterous as the other. A few days later, Mia posted on social media that I was a Labour Party rent boy. Well, from where I'm stood, Joshy, you are a Labour Party rent boy. You're charging money to write stories on behalf of Labour Party politicians that evade, or let's just say, are very selective on what the truth is. Some of Mia's followers expected Fielding to have been arrested by now and think that the grooming gangs who have operated with impunity in Oldham will soon be rounded up. I don't know who this some are. None of us think they'll be rounded up. We all expect it to be a cover-up and the cover-up to continue just as it was in Manchester. Some have pinned their hopes on the independent review. Well, we all know it's not independent. Look at that. You can share his article and you can subscribe to his channel. I've got loads more to get through, but I won't get through to today. But there is something I need to raise with you. There's something really, really important I need to raise with you. I'm just going to go and refill this. I'm going to come back and you'll see the value of it. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I got my Vimto, and we have a problem. I might try and come back next Sunday. It depends on how busy I am and whether I can be, because I've prepared loads and there's things you need to know, and it's just not happened today. I hadn't realised Mark would, and it's unfair on him. What the Lib Dems and the parish council have done to him is genuinely unfair. And just to finish on Sean, this is what he put up after he got defeated. He used to be leader of Oldham Council, but got a proper job. He won't say what his proper job is, but the fact that this is why you lost, Sean. You ridiculed and mocked the people of our town. There was no greater job than leading our town. And then claiming he'd got a proper job. Says what? Says what, Sean? I know where it is. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I've got loads to get through, but I'm going to get through this one last thing with you. There is a shake-up of the electoral boundaries. is being proposed. And everyone's missed it and no one's saying anything about it. Okay, so what's taking place is there's an idea with merit, and that's all we know. We don't know who came up with it or why, but this is the idea with merit that they've come up with. Where it's come from, I have no idea. Unfortunately, the way the Boundary Commission is run is they seem to... it's almost impossible for you to make any influence or change. They say, oh, we welcome feedback and blah, blah, blah. But from what I've seen, the feedback is just ignored, or they've got their own, so one reason they're given one section where they've ignored something or changed something is a completely different, set of rules somewhere else. So I have no hope really on this, but I think you all should know. What they're trying to do is change the boundaries in Oldham, where Royton North and Royton South is took out of Oldham West and Royton, Oldham West and Royton, which is Jim McMahon's constituency, named Royton. So they want to take Royton North and Royton South out and put it into Oldham East and Saddleworth. And what they want to do is exchange Alexander and St Mary's into Oldham West. Obviously it won't be called Oldham West and Royton anymore because Royton's not in there anymore. The consequence of this is, and they use the word urban constituency to the west. It's not an urban constituency. They are making a Muslim constituency by transferring Alexandra and St Mary's into the same constituency as Medlock Vale, Werneth and Coldust and North Chadderton now. These Muslim-controlled areas will have reinforcement of 2 more Muslim-controlled areas. McMahon is silent on it, I believe because McMahon will benefit from it. But the long term, this is a surrender to the Islamists. It's as simple as that. What they are doing, if this goes through, you will have a Muslim constituency. And the block vote will deliver each time. They've hidden it. They've tried to complicate it in its language. They use terms like urban, but we all know what's going on. When you exchange Royton North and Royton South in the constituency, and you put in its place Alexander and St Mary's, when you put in place Glodick, the Greater Glodick, this is the Glodick that gave Debbie Abrams her victory, remember, when the majority of the other areas voted against her. You're putting in place another 8,000 Muslim votes into that ward. This is horrific. It's something to genuinely fear. And if it goes through, we have abandoned Oldham. Now, I don't care. Call me a far-right conspiracy theorist all you want. But in the place where I once worked, we would do equality impact assessments to determine what impact this has on the different demographics who live in that space. Everyone should be alarmed. McMahon knows full well what's happening. He's already moved into Chadderton Town Hall and set up office there. Oldham is being handed over. Now, you can call them Muslim. I call them Islamists. And I'm very clear why I call them Islamists. Why weren't you told this? And when you are told this, do you see how it's told to you in a way where you don't understand what's going on? And that's why they want to silence me. That's why they want to change the law. That's why they want me arrested. Vast territories across this country are being surrendered. You think I'm joking? Read that article. Type it in Google. I'll put the link up afterwards. Why are you swapping Royton North and Royton South with Glodick and the area around Alexander Park? Why are you moving the white people out of a constituency and moving the Muslims into a constituency? My name is Raja Mir. I do have an MBE, believe it or not. It's for services to the community. I was once considered an expert on race relations, community cohesion, counter-terrorism, anti-extremism. And instead of working for government, I now work for the people of my town. Please support the Recusant 9 channel in whatever means you can. The last bit of information. Whatever I have brought you before, however troubling and devastating it has been, I'm very clear on my belief that what I bring to you now should worry you more than all of the other things I have brought to you put together. They are creating a Muslim constituency in the United Kingdom, because that is what those changes are about. A very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.